Well, it was at the strong start that we all wanted, with India coming out very aggressive on the defensive end. You could see that they were forcing multiple turnovers on interceptions, and they were running the break, really pushing that ball with those very quick
Yeah.
outlet passes. But we had Janine Pantejos, who kept us alive in the first half, scoring 17 points of her 22. But it was really the turnaround in the third quarter. Alam mo, actually, a while ago, I had a video call with the players of the team, and they told me na during halftime, medyo parang sinigawan sila ni Coach Pat. Medyo parang sabi niya na, let's go, kailangan talaga natin manalo. And that wake-up call was all that they needed. And ganun talaga si Coach Pat. That's how he motivates his players. And lucky for all of us, it all paved the way for that win. We saw that magical third quarter when they came out rejuvenated with so much energy, pressing all those ball handlers, forcing turnovers. And there you can see Kate Castillo and Janine Pantejos coming out really big with 22 points apiece.
So they were basically the Splash Sisters in that game. But before we move on, I'm actually really curious. Kapag nagalit si Coach Pat, can you describe it to us? How he is when he's emotional during a halftime break?
Naubos na yung voice ni Coach Pat for sure.
Paggising lang yan, parang, ano ba? Ano natin manalo? Ganun siya.
Well, we all know that Coach Pat is, one of the great motivators, especially in women's basketball. And you talked about the team dynamics of that whole game. But let's talk about, like what Pao said, the Splash Sisters. Pontejos and Castillo tandem, they both had 22 points. Let's talk about them. What are your thoughts about them, Bea?
Well, the both of them literally shot the lights out last night. They combined with 44 points, more than half the team's output of 74 points. For Janine Pantejos, we all know that she's given the green light to shoot. She has that scorer's mentality. And lucky for all of us, at the onset of the game, she already caught fire, making 17 points in the first half when India was really making a barrage of points. For Kate Castillo naman, she was the one who really lit the fire in that third quarter that allowed us to get back the lead against India. She scored 7 3-point shots, and she seems to love going up against India, because in 2019, when we went up against India again for the same 7th spot of the league, she also scored 18 points of 5 3-pointers. So she's really just a great shooter, and what a time for her to come alive last night against India.
I think she's the most unwelcome person in India because of what she's doing to the national team. Pero look, apart from them, well, we always talk about Afril because of the fact that she's just a great scorer, she's a great all-around player.
She's been consistent the whole
but
tournament.
then today, in this particular game rather, she only had 9 points. But let's take a look at her stat line. Kasi grabe pa rin eh. 9 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, 4 blocks. Grabe, those are Diego Dario numbers.
Wow. If there's women's fantasy, I'll take April all day.
Pero let's take a look at what Afril did and just her all-around game. Kasi grabe siya. When she goes up for rebounds, she doesn't care that she's shorter. She goes up to block you. She doesn't care if you're taller. And her timing is incredible for her size. Can you talk a bit about what she does apart from scoring? Kasi grabe talaga eh.
Actually, a fun fact about Afro Bernardino. She didn't start out playing basketball. It wasn't her first sport. I remember when she was a rookie in the UAAP, all she was doing was just getting all those rebounds all the time. Minsan, malaki pa nga yung rebounds niya versus yung points niya when she was starting out in her first rookie year. And that's really just what she brings, She eventually evolved her game to become a scorer as well. But if she's not able to get her game in points, you can really depend on her on all the other intangibles such as rebounds, hustle, those steals, those monster blocks as well. And that's what she brings to the table, a complete package for Coach Pat Aquino and the Gilas team.
I'm curious, Jegs, what do you think her first sport was?
Who, April?
Yeah.
Probably American football.
But, babe, what was her first sport? What was her first sport?
Track and field.
Track and field.
Okay,
Okay.
like American football.
She's very physical in the court. Yeah. Anyway, Bea, so we talked about specifically that game, but let's talk about the whole campaign of this women's team. This India game was a bright spot for them, but you could see the heart, the effort of this team the whole campaign. What can you say about them?
There was no shortage, of resilience and heart for this Gilas team. Their backs were against the wall once again for the second straight time. In 2019, it happened once again here in 2021, going up against India in a do-or-die game with the risk of being relegated back to level 2.
Yeah.
But this time, we actually had the shorter hand because we put in a shorter lineup with no legitimate center aside from Claire Castro. We had a shorter preparation time. We had a lot of new rookies, new players in the team. But then again, they didn't let all of those negative things block their way. They stayed true to their team, to their game plan, and they were able to come back from a come from behind win against India. And still today, I'm very happy and very, very proud of all of them that they will remain in FIBA Asia Level 1 because that is where they belong.
Absolutely. And, we were also talking a bit about, actually, we have, obviously, we have your notes here right in front of us. And you said that the future is bright for this Gilas program. And I agree that it is. But when you look at the pieces that we have here, again, this is not a complete team by any stretch of the imagination.
Yes.
Wala pa si Jack Nimam, wala pa yung mga film reinforcements and so on and so forth. But then, based on what you've seen, especially from the younger ones, how confident are you that you not just sustain this level of success, but then become even better as the years go by?
Well, it is just so important for them to have this early international exposure at the onset of their careers with the likes of Camille Perrin, Ella Fajardo, Kayabyab, Pingol. They played like they were not rookies. And to have this exposure, to have this experience will just make them get so much better and get so equipped with the style of play in the international scene because we all know that it's a whole different ball game there. So I'm just so happy that the program that we have is evolving, is getting so much bigger, is getting so much exposure for everyone. And this is what we need to be able to make women's basketball in the Philippines so much bigger than what it is today.